What are the causes of Covid-19? Why is it happening to us? What are we to learn from it?
Picking up on your questions, the formalities that come forward initially are that the Earth experiences a learning process, and all things can teach us, you and us from any dimension, a level of understanding which can help us become more than we were before we had this experience. In due time, things will become easier to have this understanding already built in with all experience, and we will assess our experiences from a different perspective. But the fundamental opportunities that come forward for learning in chaos, which is accompanying the earthly experiences at this particular state of its development, call for a greater potential of penetrating the causes and results of what is happening. I've spoken before about harmony and balance, and these are fundamental units of being at one with the universal energy which your planet is included in, the earthly ties that come with the processes that come forward in bringing unity with a greater potential of being at one with all things. And it has with it a barometer of understanding itself as well as you. You are a part of all things, and this should be recognized in any process that carries forward a learning element, and all things are part of you. And to see this interaction between what you term a virus and a natural form of being is seen as a development of being apart from something, when it should be seen as being a part of all things. And to recognize things that are not compatible with you in the way that you think they should be, and cause them to be separate, will only increase the ability for conflict to take place. It's the harmony and understanding which brings together peace and love and compatibility, rather than forming a barrier and an aggressive nature towards the environment that surrounds you and is part of you. I say these words to give you the understanding that to develop a friendship with all things is far better and more compatible than turning against certain elements that seem to suit you or be the only way that you can cope with any situation that affects your personality. But it is basically a misharmony with the natural energy of the world around you that causes these interruptions in the flow, which is unified and is a benefit to all things. When one imposes a will or dictates a condition on any substance, it is often being manipulated in a way which it wasn't its true purpose. And therefore there is a risk of an offshoot that isn't compatible with the natural being, which must be reduced in its power by the learning process which comes forward through that experience. So first of all, I would say that the cause and reason to be affected and have a less dignified presentation of the self through misrepresentation of one's energies can cause a disruption, a ripple, a curtailment of the flow of energy in how it was meant to be. And when one separates oneself from the natural world and becomes an element of condition and power within self, there is a repercussion which often brings about disruption. The natural energy which surrounds you is compatible with everything that is seen as a process of eliminating negativity and bringing forward love and understanding and positivity, creativity and unity within all things. And left to its own devices, it cannot be anything else. It is only when these options to be true to itself are interrupted that the cause is a result of an action which is non-compatible. Therefore, one should stop seeing this element of disruption as a separation of self, but see it as part of self, evolving through actions and thought processes which have caused it in the first place. So although some would view this viral impact that has taken place as an enemy to be dealt with in the most aggressive manner, it is formed as part of a unified set of reactions to the world around you, and therefore is a part of you anyway, and it needs to be treated with a perspective of understanding how it formed, and therefore your reaction to it will be in a form of understanding rather than misunderstanding. There is a level of reaction to all forms of discomfort or disharmony that automatically brings about a feeling of upset and attack, or a feeling of being depleted through something which is non-compatible with self. But self is applied to all things and is part of all things, and to view and understand these experiences as a reaction to action, as I've said, will be a more understandable viewpoint of how to cope. Friends can be more complete than enemies. And non-compatible occurrences will always produce non-compatibility, whereas love and understanding bonds together and forms itself into a greater element of itself. If one was judgmental, one would be pinpointing the causes in a way which was non-compatible to the loving energy which accepts mistakes and creates an opportunity to learn. So my viewpoint on giving negativity to the cause of disruption will be understood to be limited. But my focus is applied to those who wish to see a way forward from disruption, and an understanding that all disruption has a cause, and for personality to understand that cause, to learn from it and curtail the ability for it to reoccur. When one suffers from personal injury, one will be much more positively applying healing when one becomes understanding of that injury and the application of harmony and gentleness to bring about a natural healing process that is in harmony with the greater energy of the universe. Therefore, when one needs to be renewed into a compatible state, one should have a friendly attitude towards the application of the healing process. Your experience in a personal way, all life forms within the earth have a focus on a natural, gentle journey forward. And the blueprint for the journey is written already. And it's when variation occurs to the natural flow of the journey forward is implicated or impressed, then alterations that are not compatible can take place. The words I give already contain a process of understanding and what is available to bring about a positive result from what appears to be a negative situation. But it's disruption that is a root cause, or one of the elements which contains the potential for cause in these circumstances. And when one is on a journey that is evolving disruption and negativity, one will always feed the attributes of difficulty when one is in that arena of circumstance. a fundamental usefulness that comes from understanding your place within the universal potential is understanding the harmony and the harmonious aspect of self. And the fault lines which occur through intentional disruption of a natural element which is already part of you will only fuse together the contrast of one to another. If one relates to a historic viewpoint, a past journey of episodes which have already occurred, those with a keen mind will see the results of misharmony bringing about furtherment of that energy and matching itself with the results of the initial occurrence, and be able to establish a greater knowledge of what the benefits of being in harmony and the disruptive forces which can occur when one is not. But there are lessons to be learnt with every occurrence, and so all is not in the negative section of being. One can become more because of disharmony, but it is exactly that which is not being learnt. It is the ongoing occurrence of not learning from the fault lines that develop and repairing unconditionally and going forward with the knowledge of comfort in knowing that one has reactions from actions, and if those actions are in harmony with the general universal ability to bring about goodness, then one will always remain in that section of their experience. There is no easy answer that can be given to one about how these experiences can be best understood, for it is a format of human experience for the disruptive energies to feed upon weakness. But those who have within them the strength of understanding can contribute their abilities in a way which is an inspirational journey for others to understand from. And therefore you will teach yourselves the most profitable journey regarding spiritual development and ongoing learning from each other, whereas disruption has shown itself to be opposed to that and is increasing its disruption from each other rather than this learning process. It's all very well to blame the negativity on the element which you feel is causing it. But it needs the understanding to find out the root cause of why this occurred in the first place, to become a cure and a redemption. Amen.
Thank you very much for that insight and understanding and comprehensive answer. Sending our love to Chai and Spirit World. Amen.
Does that make sense, Paul?
Yes. I'll just say recording 29th September 2020.